Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those three together, and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that matter.
Now, you've engaged in Project Icebreaker, which is a collaboration with Norway and Sweden, and this aims to test near-instant retail CBDC, so we can divide CBDC into retail, which is available to the general public, and wholesale, which is more for financial institutions, but across borders, so retail across borders. So can you share a little bit about what has been learned here, and what are some of the challenges when you try to address interoperability between countries?
All right. First of all, thank you, Nia, for having me here. Maybe before I say something about Icebreaker, I think we're all realizing we're in the midst of a technological revolution in the payment system. And if payments used to be sort of more plumbing, they're affecting the I/O structure of financial services and monetary policy. And that's why central banks are there. We are seeing it: faster payments, smart contracts, e-money, crypto assets, stable coins, and CBDC, as you mentioned, is sort of a public good that can be both complementary, but can also to these things, but can also, in some circumstances, crowd out some of these things. Some of the advantages have been mentioned: advanced and safe alternative to existing means of payments, ensure the adjustments of payment system to the needs of the digital economy. CBDC could be the gateway to stablecoin, which is the gateway to, instead of stablecoin, between the new digital economy and the standard economy, and cheap cross-border, which is where your question comes back. So what we've done with the BIS Innovation Hubs in Nordic Center and the Central Bank of Sweden and Norway, we launched this project, and the project kind of went through the second part of 2022. It's got a lot of technological features to it, and I believe it's the first CBDC retail experiment that takes a retail payment, a household or a merchant in Israel paying in shekels, local currency, and transferring it back to somebody in Sweden or in Norway. So it's a cross-border. It allows all the users to do that, with the end users receiving the payment with CBDC in their own country. The key feature here, in order to achieve this project, the team designed a hub, which facilitates communication and the exchange of data among the national CBDC system. By the way, I'm sort of proud to say that the hub was actually built by the technological team in the Bank of Israel. Basically, the concept requires only minimal adjustment to the national CBDC systems in order to achieve the desired interoperability. So while one of the key things you want to have, once we have a whole matrix, all the currencies against all the currencies, you want a system that is agile enough to do that, and it seems like this system is capable of doing it. The hub and the technology used in the project teams enables basically nearly atomic transaction. For example, funds would be paid from the CBDC wallet of a payer in Israel if and only if the payee finds and receives the payee's CBDC wallet in Sweden. Thus, the counterparty risk that exists today in corresponding banking system is eliminated. It's important to notice and emphasize that the transaction would be immediate as opposed to several days, in which is what's happening in today's system. One of the key insights, and I'm getting to, was that it is possible to make a direct and immediate cross-border payment between CBDC coins of different countries. In fact, there are two important characteristics here that do not exist in the current system. The first one: in today's world, cross-border payments take on average a few days to complete, and in the system we built, there's basically no third party involved in the transaction, and so there's no risk that the same party will fail. This may save significant risk premiums down the road. Also, the design of the system we built allows us to separate the money transfer from the FX transfer. There's an the hub is an intermediary for that to the local foreign currency. Today, when you transfer money through a bank or another payment company, and I have here sort of relevant entities, the same entity converts your local currency into foreign currency and makes the payment. This situation, in some sense, reduces competitiveness and may make the high cost on conversion. And basically, our feature is the separated two operation make the currency exchange market more competitive, thereby reducing the cost. I won't go into the detail. There's a whole technical issue of how it's done through hash time-locked contracts, etc. It consists of a bunch of APIs, and we will put a report out that gives the detail. But the important thing is the interoperability is not just between two currencies, as I mentioned. It can be extended. Challenges, and I'll stop here. AML issue, we haven't really dealt with that. It wasn't one of the issues in the project, but that will be an important issue going down the road in extending it. The important question down the road, who will build this hub if we do it globally? Is it going to be a consolidation of central banks, international bodies like IMF, BIS, private companies like SWIFT or others? So I'll stop here for now. Thank you.
First of all, I love that you said the tech team came from the Bank of Israel. I think, we think of central banks as being mainly economists. I think, I'm a bit biased, I'm a computer scientist, but I think you're going to have more and more technical capacity as we build out this future.
They're not easy to hire.
Have to make it worth it.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, we have the governor of the Bank of Israel, and this is probably the most powerful 6 minutes that you'll ever listen to. Guys, the real use cases, the utility is already here. And we've been over Project Icebreaker a few times, but it's totally different when you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. And we know the technology that's coming out of Israel. But don't forget, guys, Israel has been buying the yuan, and that is very important. And when we're looking at China, CBDC, we know they have a jump ahead of everyone else. And the governor of the Bank of Israel already said that these CBDCs are already interoperable. So when we're looking at FX and real-time settlement, guys, this is a game changer, and you're talking about releasing trillions and trillions of dollars of liquidity. And I always get the question, if they're laying off all these people are not going to have money. How are they going to make money? How is the NWO going to make money? Guys, it's not about money. It's about the power. They will have total control of humanity. If you're relying on the government to pay you, guess what they're going to do? They're going to starve you. And we know history doesn't lie. We know in reality money is not real. But guys, when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution, nothing will be real. That's the reason why they want you in a virtual world. These carbon credits, controlling your movement, and then also telling you what, where, and when and how to buy. Now we have the co-founder of Casper Labs says that over 80% of the companies are looking at blockchain. And we know blockchain gives the NWO the all-seeing eye, but what it also does is change everything that we do, because everything is going to be tokenized. Energy, real estate, the supply chain. And then we also have Salo founder talking about the real use cases of tokenization. And we know he's an MIT guy, so we know he's part of the plan. But what he also says is this financial system that we currently in doesn't work. But we know the same hands that control the current financial system is controlling the new financial system behind the scenes. And we can look at the funding rounds of all these projects. The big banks and big corporations have been funding crypto from the beginning. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
So in the enterprise market, we've actually recently did a study, a survey, and we found that 87% of CTOs and CIOs are actually going to be investing, either deploying or investing in blockchain technology in 2023. But however, 54% of them still conflate crypto and blockchain. So we definitely have education we need to do. I don't believe that the fallout is over yet. But by the same token, we observe this in other boom bust cycles, right? We observed this in the dot-com boom. We saw fraud. We've seen fraud even in traditional finance, right? We've seen major collapses happen. So I think this is part of the growth cycle. I think we'll still feel some more pain, but I think it's all net positive.
It seems positive from the enterprises, Meta, but just the macro environment, of course, has changed dramatically, not just in the crypto space. I'm talking macroeconomy, fears of recessions, interest rates on the rise. Are businesses not yet cutting back? Because we've seen, for example, with companies like Amazon and Microsoft, businesses cutting back on cloud spend. So they're still willing to invest in...
They are still willing to invest in blockchain because I believe that they can reduce overhead, streamline operations, and reduce compliance costs. And I think that they are looking to cut expense out of their budgets, right? And blockchain is a great tool for doing that.
I think so. And the reason for that is, look, the crises we're facing as a society right now are at a massive scale, right? And many of them are mass coordination problems, whether that's climate change, that's the global poverty, things that are being discussed here. I'm here on as representing a community of builders in over 150 countries that are building on the Celo blockchain, and right now there are more people starting a project in, say, Nairobi than in San Francisco or New York, and that's really, I think, important to take a global lens on that. And so for me, regenerative finance has been a bit of a buzzword in 2022, but I think 2023, it's really going to move even more into the center because, we're all, I think, starting to realize that the financial system as we've had it doesn't quite work anymore. We are sort of at capacity as a world, and we need to find ways to bring these externalities into the financial system. And I can give some examples for that, but to me, I think what's starting to happen is a bit of a decoupling where you're no longer just looking at crypto assets, but you're starting to see people buying, holding them because they want to participate in the systems, right, that they govern. And so the utility value of tokens, I think, is going to really move more front and center as adoption becomes a lot bigger at a global scale.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. Long COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.